The Beer O'Clock Show with Steve and Mark. Episode 3, Old Golden Hen. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Beer O'Clock Show, brought to you by Purple Panda Media, a web design company up in Glasgow. My name is Mark, and joining me from the sunny fields of Essex is Steve. Hello, Steve.
Good evening, Mark. How are we doing?
I'm doing alright. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Enjoying the sun for a change.
Indeed. Yes, it's a bit bright in the sky, isn't it?
Yeah.
That fiery ball.
Yes, indeed.
As I mentioned, Purple Panda Media, thanks to Alastair. He designed the excellent podcast cover art and Twitter avatar we're using now. It's absolutely brilliant work. And we're very pleased to give a shout out to him as a little thank you for that. You can hit his website up at purplepandamedia.com, based up in Glasgow. He does great work. Following last week's episode where we dug into a Green King IPA, not many people had anything to say about the Green King IPA, apart from get in touch with us when you're drinking real beer. Andy, who we mentioned, there was a little bit of confusion by what he meant by saying Caffrey's before Guinness or over Guinness. He was saying, I prefer Caffrey's over Guinness on the Irish beer front, but he also prefers Murphy's over Guinness. So that clears that up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll be able to sleep soundly in my bed tonight now I know that.
Indeed. And we also had a few messages from a lad called Anthony Statham. Thanks very much for your messages, mate. He noted a few beers he's had this week, which I'm going to list through them because this is interesting to me. WJ King Birthday Beer from Horsham. Sussex Pale Ale, Hepworth & Co. Brewers, which he said was full of malty. That may have been the Harvey's Tom Payne Ale, 5.5%. What's he talking about? Beer? What have you tried that's new in the last week?
I've not had anything new, as in new that I've not tasted before. But in terms of new for the podcast and what we do here. Last weekend I had a bottle of Adnams Innovation, which is their slightly American IPA style brew that they've got at the moment that's available pretty much exclusively in their shops. Mm-hmm. And I also enjoyed a bottle of Innis & Gunn Scottish Pale Ale. So those were my tipples last weekend that I treated myself to.
And what were they like?
They were nice, actually. The Scottish Pale Ale has got a really fresh, crisp taste to it. It's a little bit different from some of the other Innis & Gunn brews. It's not quite so heavy on the sort of the whiskey type flavour that they manage to infuse in most of their beers. I'm not sure whether it's actually matured in the whiskey casks like most of the other beers, but it's a nice refreshing beer. And the Innovation, it's just, as I say, it's a nice, so it's a hoppy heavy American IPA style beer, so one that you actually enjoy drinking over a period of time rather than drink quickly.
Yep.
So yes, most enjoyable.
Yeah,
and
good.
You sampled quite a few new brews last weekend.
Yeah, it was my my birthday on Friday last, so to drown my sorrows, met up with some friends in a pub near here, and I had a half pint of Doom Bar, which I've seen before in local pubs, but obviously never tried it. And that was quite nice and smooth. I found it. It didn't have. I've spoken before about the bitter kick at the beginning.
Yep.
Because for those who haven't listened before, I should have mentioned this at the top of the show. The whole thing with Beer O'Clock Show is I don't know ales very well at all. And Steve is the aficionado. I called you last week on Twitter. Steve is here to teach me how to drink ales and taste them and all that kind of stuff. So I am going through a variety of beers, as it were. So I had the Doom Bar last week. That was from Sharps. That was quite nice. That went down quite easy.
Mm. Doom Bar's a nice beer. It's a nice, easy drinking beer. Yeah.
And then I went up to a friend's place on the weekend, and he has a nice collection. So I had a Timothy Taylor's Landlord, which I can't remember much of. It was nice at the time. Had an Adnams Spindrift, which was again nice from what I can remember. And to follow that up, this is all in one night, mind you.
Which is a lot for you.
Yes.
To do in one night. It's a lot.
Had a third one, which was the Adams Ghost Ship, which is your favourite beer.
Yes.
And I spilt a bit, I'm afraid. Don't kill me. Andy, my mate, did shout at me from across the room when I did that. Not just because I spilt it on the couch. He said, that's a good way to drink a Ghost Ship. Yeah, so that was okay. Again, everything still tastes a bit beery to me. But the texture was quite nice.
Yeah.
I think I need to have a few more.
We'll get you there.
We'll get there in the end.
That's the purpose of our journey on the Beer O'Clock show, isn't it?
Yeah, and speaking of the journey, this week's tip haul is Moreland's Old Golden Hen. Now, this is the last of the Suffolk beers that we've had planned. This was originally picked up by Steve for me because it's a bit on the lighter side, from what I understand. The label says it's a refreshing golden beer with tropical fruit notes. This is a golden ale, is it not?
It is, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to crack mine open. I'm
ahead of you. Sorry, I was a bit thirsty.
Good man.
Earlier.
After you've had a glug, perhaps you can explain to me what exactly is a golden ale? Is it just the colouring, or is it something specific?
You're going to have to edit this bit out. I don't know what a golden ale is. I don't know how they produce the beer to make it look more golden. I would take a guess at it that it's that it's the type of malts and barleys that they use in it that actually give it its golden colour, rather than using darker malts that would give beer its traditional dark colour.
Okay, so it purely comes down to the colour of it, does it?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It shouldn't taste necessarily any different than another type of ale.
I think you find that the golden ales are actually generally tend to be more refreshing, because they are a little bit lighter. There's sometimes a little bit more fizz to them as well. And there's certainly a lot of them will have very citrusy, or as this one says, zesty notes to it as well. So they're just they're generally an easier beer to drink. They're what you'd look for if you were going out and drinking in the summer, like this sort of weather now when it's nice and warm. Going to a pub, you're looking for a nice golden ale because it's a little bit refreshing.
Yeah, it's definitely lighter than a couple that, well, we've only done two before. Definitely lighter than the Southwold Bitter.
Yeah.
Nicer than the Green King.
Yes. Well, it's got flavour for a start. That's always a good start.
Oh, poor Green King. Made by the same brewery though. I did look up the Green King website, and Moreland is listed as one of their beers. And
yeah. Because we've spoke about this the last couple of weeks, haven't we? And I was unsure, so I did a little bit of digging into it as well. And apparently, the Moreland brewery used to be based in Oxfordshire, but it was purchased in 2000 by Green King, and then they closed the brewery in Oxfordshire and moved all the production over to Bury St Edmunds.
Oh, okay.
So that they've kept the Moreland brand, but it's essentially it's owned by Green King.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not the most interesting beer in the world, is it? But it's nice and light.
It is. This was it was released at last year's Great British Beer Festival, and it was one of the first beers that I tried when I went last year, and it was an instant success in my mind. I took to it straight away. I'd never really been, and probably still to this day, I'm not a massive fan of the Old Speckled Hen variety that they do. So I was a little bit wary about trying this first of all, but it's proved since the beer festival last year, and then subsequently them releasing it in bottles, it's actually proved quite a popular beer with me. It's up there as one of my favourites now. I'd say.
Okay, so this is a staple beer of the Green King.
It is, yes, yeah. So generally this Old Speckled Hen, and then your Green King IPA, and it's dozen or so varieties that comes with it.
Yeah, when I was looking on their website, I was thinking, okay, they do the IPA. What other beers do they do other than the Old Hen ones? And it's like 6 varieties of IPA. I'm thinking, bloody hell. Let's put a different name on it.
Do something new,
Yeah.
for God's sake. Yeah.
It's like Apple releasing a different coloured iPod. Just a different coloured label on their IPA.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of the beer? What's the first thing that you notice about it? Because there's something very distinctive that I find with this one.
Are you testing me now, mate?
Oh, come on. Come on. You
okay.
got to start.
I can feel the taste around the bitterness around the edges of my tongue.
Yeah.
Very soft on top of my tongue, though. Is this a good way to describe it?
As long as people get the whole story and not just that snippet, then yeah.
I don't know. I can't place it. What should I be tasting for?
It's not even so much a taste, really. And for me, this beer's got a really strong aroma. The minute you open it, you can really smell the beer.
Yeah, I could smell it as soon as I opened it. Yeah,
and I don't think we've had that with the previous two yet. We've opened them, we've poured them, we've drunk them, and it's been pretty standard. But this one, it's got a really strong aroma to it as well.
Yeah, I can't quite place it though.
I don't know why I had to drink some to test the smell, but just because it's there, probably. I think the label notes would say that there's a scent of that they say it's straw and a hint of honey. I can't really smell the straw, but there is quite a strong smell to it, and that might just be the malts that they use in it, and the hops that they've used for it to give it, and it's just the flavour coming through.
Maybe my nose is broken. my smellometer. Yeah. I can definitely tell there's something there, but I can't put my nose on it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. No. Anyway, continuing the chatter about beers, you're off to the British Beer Festival tomorrow, the Great British Beer Festival.
Yes.
And you've been doing your homework. You've been making plans.
I have. They put the beer list up on their website, and bearing in mind there's about 800 different beers that are going to be on offer there, including a range of kind of cask beers and bottles. Sorting through that lot into the 15 or 20 or so beers that I want to try while I'm there was quite a challenge, but I've got it down to a list of beers that I'm going to be trying while I'm there. I have sorted that list, have prioritised the list, have capitalised some of the brews, so that they're the ones that I absolutely must try. And I am looking forward to going through those doors at lunchtime tomorrow and spending the afternoon in there.
By the time people hear this, you will most likely have already been to the festival and gone home. But I saw the thing you put on Twitter this afternoon where people have to find you at a random bar.
Yeah, I was reading some of the tweets that were coming through from the festival, and I think I was getting a bit jealous that I actually wasn't there today.
Yeah,
and because there was a lot of the bars and a lot of the breweries were saying, come find us and show us this tweet, and we'll give you a free something or other. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get into the spirit of this. So we've got quite a few followers on Twitter now that are going to be there tomorrow. So I thought if I'm tweeting where I am and what bar I'm at, if someone can locate me, I'll buy them a beer. It's all good promotional stuff for us.
Exactly. Yeah, I am going to try my best to get this out tonight, so hopefully some people will pick it up in the morning before they head in. So if you get a random tap on your shoulder saying, "Oi, where's my free third?"
Yeah,
then you know why. It's not just some random loony.
I better
So,
take some extra cash.
so what are some of the beers you're really looking forward to that you've double underlined and
Okay, let me just find my lists. Right, the one that's at the top of my list is by Brains Brewery, which are a Welsh brewery, and it's called Barry Island IPA. It's been brewed by a guy that does he does a YouTube kind of beer cast where he reviews beers. So similar to what we do, but he just does it alone to camera and he reviews different beers. And he's got quite a following on YouTube and on Twitter. I think you can follow him at it's at Real Ale Today.
okay.
So and he's had a hand in helping Brains to brew this Barry Island IPA, and it's been brewed in the American IPA style. So it's supposed to be strong on hops and full flavored. So that's the one at the top of my list. Underneath that, again from Brains Brewery, they've released one called Weiss Baby, which, but again, by all accounts, is going down an absolute storm at the beer festival. It's flying out every day, so I'm hoping to get my hands on some of that. There's the annual release of the Fuller's Brewers Reserve, which is the Brewers Reserve number 4 this year, been brewed in cognac cases for around 800 days. So will be quite a strong beer. And that one I'm literally waiting on Brewers, on Fuller's to tweet what time it'll be available on their bar, and then I'll be rushing over to sample that one. There's what else is there? There's one called Pride of Sheffield, which is by Kellam Island Brewery. They're a nice, they're a little brewery up in Sheffield that do some amazing beers. So I'm looking forward to trying that one. Just going through my list as well here while I'm talking, trying to fill space. And then just lots of others really. There's quite a lot where I've literally quite simply gone for the name rather than anything else. So let's have a look.
Yeah, that's how I picked the Doom Bar out on Friday night. I thought that sounds a bit Black Sabbathy. I'll have a go with that.
There's one called Tropical, which I'm going to try, which I assume will have pretty much like the Old Golden Hen that we're drinking will be have tropical flavours in it.
They might put an umbrella in the glass for you.
Yeah. Well, there's one called Festival as well, which I thought would be quite a nice one to try. Seeing I was there as I'm at a beer festival, it might be quite nice to try a beer called Festival.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've got about. I'm not going to drink that many. I've got about 24 beers that I want to try. If I get through them all, God help me on Saturday morning.
That's about 8 pints worth.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of beers actually. I might have to review that on the train on the way tomorrow.
Okay, well, don't have much of this. I've got to stop drinking things so quickly. I look at it and it looks like ginger ale, so I'm kind of drinking it like ginger ale. It is quite fizzy, isn't it?
It is quite a fizzy beer, yeah. We've tried something new this week, haven't we? We've
yes.
had the beer out of the fridge for about half an hour before we've drunk it to try and pick up a bit more of the flavour rather than just drinking cold, fizzy liquid.
Yeah, we'll need to revisit week 1's beer, Southwold Bitter one time, because I had that cold straight out of the fridge.
Yeah.
And so it was only the bitterness that came through, I think. This is actually quite a nice beer. I would have this again, I think. Quite easy going.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yeah, it's not the easiest ale I've had. I think Adnams Explorer might be the easiest one I've had.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good. I'm enjoying it. Yep. We didn't rate last week's beer. We rated the first week's. I think we kind of gave quite clear impression of what we thought of Green King IPA.
I don't think we need to actually put a rating on it, do we?
No. But how would you rate Old Golden Hen?
For me, this is up there as probably an 8 for me.
Wow.
It's a good beer. I like it. It's refreshing. It's a beer where you can have a few of them without really feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't bloat you like some beers as well. So no, it's a good beer for me. Good session beer.
Yeah. I think by the virtue of the fact that it's quite easy to drink, and it doesn't have that really bitter bite to it that I've had before, I would give it around a 7. I would think.
Okay.
It's not the best one I've had in the last few weeks, but it is quite nice. Yeah, there's kind of a I don't want to say a ginger taste to it. It's kind of like a slightly bitter taste on the back, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'll be able to say something tastes like something other than beer soon enough.
You're looking like you're going to start hugging it and telling it to love it in a minute.
Yeah. Oh. How long have we been going? 20 minutes, and I've already gone through almost 400 mils of it. I've got to slow down, mate. We have a Get Drunk with Mark, folks.
Episode 2.
We have a strict time schedule for these episodes, and I'm driven to finish the bottle before we finish recording. It's just one of those subconscious things.
Maybe you should start before we start recording, so you can drink it over a longer period of time.
Maybe.
And have actually formulated some opinion on it by the time we get to recording.
If I start drinking before recording, I might A, forget to press record, and B, not know how to host a podcast afterwards. Okay, so let's wind this down. Next week we're going to be trying Waggle Dance. Is that what it was called?
I think that's what we agreed on. Yes.
Yeah, right. One of the. It's a beer that was given to me over the weekend by my mate Andy. Thanks very much, Andy. Free beer is always good. So we're going to give that a go next week. If you, the listener, have any suggestions for what you think we should try, you can hit us up on Twitter at beeroclockshow, email beeroclockshow@gmail.com, or visit the website at beeroclockshow.co.uk. Steve is on Twitter on Mental Bentos. I'm at Roku, ROKKU. But hit us up at Beer O'Clock Show, and we've got a nice little group going there. Get in with the conversations. Send us your recommendations of what you think are good beers to be trying in the next few weeks or the next few months. Anything new coming out, anything new you're tasting, especially the small local breweries in your area that we most likely would not see in London, except it's the Great British Beer Festival.
Yeah. I'd encourage people to let us know what you're drinking, and you know, if you can put a review into 140 characters on Twitter, let us have it, and we'll give you a shout out on the show as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll try and get as many other little, like you say, little breweries reviewed as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's the end of this episode. Join us next week for a Waggle Dance. My name's Mark. That's Steve. Thanks very much.
See you next week, folks.
Cheerio. Chin chin.
Bye-bye.